Hi friends, I hope that you are having a wonderful day so far. In today's video we are going to be diving straight into the story time for Luciano the Jumper's latest jump. This is the first jump where they will be joined by companions, specifically Zelda from Breath of the Wild and Mipha also from Breath of the Wild. So they are going to be having two companions. They themselves only have one drawback, which is the drawback that makes it so that if you are singing on stage, you will not sound good, which is going to negate much of their ability to directly influence the plot of this particular jump, but that wasn't their intention anyway. For Luciano, this is mostly an introductory jump to help teach Zelda and Mipha about jumping. They are going to be starting off in the ski lodge, which is the starting location of the jump. I myself am the jump maker, so that is something to keep in mind if you want to go and check out the jump itself. And for the very first few hours that they are going to be there on December 31st, 2005, Luciano will be showing Zelda and Mipha how to morph into their alt forms. Both Zelda and Mipha will now have Earth human alt forms, although for Zelda that's basically just going to be her ears slightly changing shape. Mipha will have a full human form now because Mipha is a Zora, and that means that her standard form is that of a aquatic, possibly presumably amphibious humanoid. But now she is just going to look like a regular human. She is going to be benefiting from the Disney levels of prettiness perk that is one of the perks that exists in this jump. So she's going to be good enough looking that she could make a living as an actress if that's what she wanted. And for the very first day that Luciano, Zelda, and Mipha will be in the world of High School Musical, Luciano is going to introduce Zelda and Mipha to different technological concepts, showing them videos, video games, and doing other things over in the space that Zelda, Luciano, and Mipha will live in during this very first part of this jump. For those of you who do not know the plot of High School Musical, it does begin in a ski lodge, and it begins with Troy Bolton and Gabriela Montez, the two protagonists, being at the same wintry vacation spot, which is where they'll have their first meeting over an awkward and then eventful karaoke song that they will be singing. Luciano, Zelda, and Mipha will be there, although none of the three of them will perform. People will be surprised to see Luciano because Luciano is the owner of the ski lodge. The ski lodge itself in this particular jump is an item that you can take with you. It is just a generic income/housing item that you can import in ways that would make sense for the setting, and it is something that will be the very first area where Zelda and Mipha just get to see what life is like on Earth. They'll be surprised at some of the technology. Luciano will be delighted to help teach them some of the basic things, and then we will fast forward just a couple of days. After a couple of days, Luciano, Zelda, and Mipha will make their way over to New Mexico, Albuquerque specifically, which is where the events of the movie take place. All three of them will be enrolled as high school students. No one will really think to question how weird it is that a high schooler is the owner of a ski lodge, just because of the nature of the item that I wrote the description for. I wanted to make it so that it was one of those items that you could own and people wouldn't really question. It's just a simple housing and income item. There's nothing super special about it, although it does have an increased chance of helping people have romantic and friendship based encounters if they indulge in the activities that the lodge offers, which obviously is what happens with Troy and Gabriella. Luciano will be in the same class as the students, and his companions will be in other classes. Although the three of them will eat lunch together, all three of them do benefit from an array of social perks. They have different natured perks as well, and for the sake of the jump, Luciano will be considered to be in a romantic relationship with Zelda, who has the freaky genius origin, and Luciano has the wildcat origin. So in a manner speaking, the two of them are similar to Troy and Gabriella. Over the course of the next couple of days, they are going to watch the initial events of the movie take place. They're going to get to watch as Troy and Gabriella interact with each other, and as the two of them make both new friends and old friends. Troy's popularity will hit new heights when it's revealed that he's interested in the musical that the movie slash school is putting on, which I believe is called Tinseltown Musical. As a pertinent reminder, Luciano has a drawback for this jump that makes it so that if they try to sing on stage, it sounds not good. They do not have the star quality whenever they're on stage, which is fine. Luciano will simply allow Zelda and Mifa to be the ones involved in the plot, and for the most part, Luciano will spend their time showing Zelda and Mifa how to use their powers, and also at night sharing more of their abilities with Zelda and Mifa, because that is an item that they have. From generic Totally Not Mind Control, they have the ability to share their perks, they have the ability to share perks related to resisting mind control and free will things, and also removing status debuffs. That's something that they can do very easily and for free without any issues using their item, but also they can share their other perks using the item as well. So this is definitely going to be a vacation jump for Luciano. Luciano will use it to help boost up their friends and make it so that the two of them are ready for more dramatic challenges, especially because now we are definitely going to be better able to do more challenging things. Luciano will get minorly involved with the plot when Zac Efron starts trying to get his basketball boys to be more interested in musicals and to be more open-minded about other people's hobbies. Luciano will be supportive and will be one of the first basketball bros to actually to help out Troy in his efforts to make things, to make being different a little bit more socially acceptable. But that will be pretty much the extent of Luciano's involvement in the plots. The two people who will be mostly involved in the plot are actually going to be Zelda and Mifa. Zelda has the freaky genius origin, so she's going to be one of Gabriella's friends. She's going to be on the academic decathlon team, and she's going to be encouraging Gabriella Montez to be herself and to be more excited about doing new things, and also just being in this space. She will encourage her to be ecstatic about being with Troy and to be a member of this new school community, whereas Mifa is actually going to be having fun watching Sharpay just be Sharpay. For those of you who don't know, Sharpay is one of the most popular characters from the High School Musical franchise, or at least she certainly was before her actual movie, Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure, which was not nearly as popular as the other movies, which is a shame. Lots of people have come to enjoy Sharpay's attitude and also just her style. There's lots of things to admire about her, which definitely seems to be what the High School Musical community has latched onto over the course of the last couple of years. People just really like her fully embracing her diva self and being a villain, and I think that's neat. Mifa's definitely going to enjoy this. Mifa's going to enjoy getting to know the villain, and is also actually just going to get to become her friend over the course of the adventure that they're going to be having here. Whereas Luciano is just going to be minorly helping out Troy and using their items to the fullest. At night, after Zelda and Mifa are fully trained up and they have, at the very least, the majority of the same perks as Luciano, Luciano will definitely be going out and stopping crime and doing minor things like healing people, just because Luciano's overall character is to be a good lad and to be a fairly generic hero type. They'll go into Albuquerque and they'll go on various misadventures. They're never going to do anything too dangerous because this is a Disney World and it follows Disney World rules. So even the crime here is nothing too severe. It's mostly people getting beaten up and things like that. And Luciano will go and help those people. They have a passive healing ability that makes it so that if they're around you, you get better. And it's capable of curing any condition short of like actual death. So Luciano will be spending a lot of time at hospitals and will be talking to elderly people as well as tutoring people and occasionally going out and fighting crime. It's just going to be a grand adventure for Luciano because Luciano is not going to be distracted by things like the musical process, which their friends will be. And for the most part, Luciano's also already gone through high school at this point more than once. Not a crazy number of times by any means, but just a couple of times. A handful of the jumps they have been in have involved Luciano as a high schooler, most notably Chronicle, which I believe actually might be the only jump where Luciano was doing repeat school things. And this time, Luciano is not only a junior, they're also a junior several years before they would have been a senior in Chronicle. So it's going to be pretty easy for Luciano to just go and kill time, which is going to be the main thing that they do. Partway through the story, they will be giving the musical MacGuffin item over to Zelda, who will use it to help cure the plot along and to help move the plot along. She'll use it to actually stop the original evil scheme by the friends of Troy and Gabriella, who collaborate partway through the movie to try and make them break up. And Zelda will not let that happen because Zelda is friends with, at this point, kind of both Troy and Gabriella, but also mostly Gabriella, and wants to make sure that she doesn't have to go through the sadness that she experiences, however short lived it was over the course of the original movie. Because in the original movie, when we are about 3/4 through, Troy and Gabriella actually break up because of a scheme that was concocted by their friends to try and make it so that they don't disrupt the status quo at the school. This is done through a recording of Troy in which he talks about how Gabriella doesn't matter and the musical doesn't matter, and the only thing that matters is the basketball boys. And in this particular version of the story, Zelda will stop that from happening altogether and will make it so that Troy knows what was about to happen and that he was able to turn the tables on his friends and confront them rather than being a victim of their plots, which makes it so that partway through the movie, everyone reconciles a lot faster than they would. The whole balcony scene is not a thing that happens. Zelda does get someone who confesses to having a crush on her, and she shoots them down without any hesitation. That was a manifestation of one of her items, the balcony scene, which is one of the Freaky Genius Girl items, and that item makes it so that partway through a jump, there will be a moment in which someone who has something to confess will confess to you. It is most often romantic, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. But just because this is a Disney movie jump and also just a fairly nondescript setting, I figured that having it be a romantic thing would be something that is pretty simple and keeps the plot moving along. Over the course of this particular adventure, Zelda and Mipha learn a lot about modern music, and they get to see what it's like to be singers and songwriters. They actually work together. It's very interesting to see a collaboration between a freaky genius and a talented twin, and it goes very well. Part of the reason why we're not talking about Mipha's twin all that much is that that's just not an important character. That is absolutely a filler character. We are not going to be taking them as a companion or anything. That's just effectively someone who looks up to Mipha and is also in Mipha's classes, who gets along with Mipha and is also a performer. They've just been there chilling in the background, doing performances with Mipha and things like that, but never anything super important. All three of our characters have participated in the musical scenes of this movie, but Luciano's done so a lot more reluctantly than some of the other characters have, just because they know about the drawback that they have. Still, they've been moving along and they've been participating, and this jump serves as an excellent opportunity for Zelda and Mipha to get to know what the world is like partway through, very specifically during spring break, which, yes, we are going to be extending this jump just a little bit longer than it would. This is actually going to be after the events of the plots, so this is after the events of the plot play out, which they will as they do in canon, just a little bit smoother and a little bit happier for everyone. Luciano will take Zelda and Mipha on a road trip during spring break, so that way the three of them can get to experience more of the country. Luciano does have more plans to go visit other parts of the United States and also to visit jumps where Earth is located and is a central part in the future, so they definitely want Zelda and Mipha to be familiar with the United States. It's during this point that they introduce them to more items. They introduce them to the Animal Crossing item, specifically the mobile home, which for a long time was Luciano's central base of operations. There were several jumps where Luciano's main housing item was it was just the mobile home item, and that's something that Luciano really liked. They missed having such a simple home base, although they know now that it's better to have more robust home bases. It's still nice to be in an Earth world and to be able to use some of their more mundane items. They take Zelda and Mipha over to other parts of the country. They go probably as far north as Vermont, which is the very northern edge of the United States, and they go down to California. For part of this, they make use of super speed, and they also make use of the network, which is one of their items. That is something that I don't really talk about all that often, but the network is an item from Generic Platformer in which you are able to take something and you are able to use it to fast travel. In the original jump, it was probably something analogous to paintings, but we'll say that in this particular jump, it manifests as a series of roads that they are able to travel along very quickly and very almost instantaneously make it from state to state. So that way, Zelda and Mipha can actually get to see the United States a little bit better. And on the day before the final school day of the year, the jump is going to come to an end. And when it comes to an end, we are going to see something that we don't often get to see. We're going to get to see a little bit of a preview of next week's jump, because next week is going to be Christmas week. It is actually going to be the day after Christmas Day, I believe. So that is going to be very exciting, and that directly relates to the actual jump that we are going to be visiting, which is the generic winter holiday jump. So if you want to go ahead and take a look at that, you can. I'm going to be working on making a build for that video, probably the same day that I'm filming this video, so it's possible that we might actually get 2 Patreon uploads instead of 1, or we might get a Patreon upload for the generic winter holiday jump, the winter special jump, a little bit earlier. A little bit earlier than we usually do, and by that I do mean a little bit later than I usually do. But I am trying to get back to having everything up for a week. So that said, we're going to go ahead and end the video here. I know that this was not a super challenging jump. It wasn't supposed to be. The entire purpose of this was to be a safe, short jump for Zelda and Mipha to get used to jumping. By the time it comes to an end, Zelda and Mipha have practiced shapeshifting and have learned how to make use of their existing abilities. Both of them had full perk chains from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Very specifically, Zelda had the Researcher origin, and she had all of the Researcher perks, and Mipha had the Paragon origin, and she had all of the Paragon perks, and both of those perk sets are very strong. They are also part of the perk sets that Luciano had, so it's very interesting to watch them get to used to having their powers. Next jump is going to be a full decade-long jump, and it's going to be very different. So that said, I hope that you all have had a great day. I can't wait to talk to you then. Bye-bye, everyone!